presentation revolves around a technique called prompting and fading. To introduce this topic, suppose we want to inspire a child to say thank you or to shake hands in the right circumstances. The simplest technique is to wait until the child says thank you or shakes hands, and then to reinforce this behaviour with praise, chocolates, or other rewards. The problem, however, is the child might never say thank you or shake hands. Therefore, you're never granted an opportunity to reinforce this behaviour. Now, prompting is designed to solve this problem. In essence, the parent, teacher, or practitioner somehow inspires or prompts the child to initiate desired behaviours such as to say thank you or to shake hands. And these prompts might include verbal instructions like say thank you, or these prompts might include physical gestures like mouthing the words thank you, or pointing to the person to whom to say thank you, and so forth. Practitioners tend to utilise two categories of prompts: response prompts and stimulus prompts. Now, response prompts are actions that follow the antecedent, the circumstance that precedes the desired behaviour. For example, if teaching a child to say thank you, response prompts would follow the receipt of a gift or some other circumstance in which saying thank you is appropriate. If teaching a child to shake hands firmly, response prompts would follow the moment in which someone else holds out their hand. Now, practitioners tend to utilise 4 clusters of response prompts. First, they might utilise verbal prompts. They could say to a child, say thank you, to prompt a child to say thank you, or shake a hand, to prompt a child to shake hands properly. Second, they could utilise gestures. For example, to remind a child to say thank you to someone, they could raise their eyebrows and nod towards this person. To remind a child to shake hands with someone, they could point to the hand of this other person. Third, they could model the behaviour. They might say thank you themselves, but with a tone that implies they want the child to mimic these words. Or they might shake hands with someone else, then nod towards the child, implying they want the child to copy. Finally, they could physically prompt the person. They probably cannot physically compel the child to say thank you, but they could physically prompt a child to shake hands with someone. They might clasp the wrist of this child and then direct the palm of this child to the hand of someone else. Besides these 4 response prompts, practitioners can also utilise stimulus prompts. Stimulus prompts are changes to the antecedent or surroundings. Specifically, the practitioner could increase the degree to which the antecedent is salient or noticeable. To illustrate, to prompt a child to shake hands, the other person could hold out her hand very close to the child, so the movement is more conspicuous. The child, therefore, is more likely to direct attention to the hand, increasing the likelihood that she or he will remember to shake hands. In addition, the practitioner could dim the light slightly so that none of the other objects in the room are likely to distract the attention of this child. Changes to the antecedent, such as increasing the salience of this handshake, is called a within stimulus prompt. Changes to other features in the surroundings, such as dimming the light that is directed to other objects, is called an extra stimulus prompt. So, which prompts are the most effective? That is, should practitioners utilise verbal prompts, gestures, modelling of the behaviour, physical prompts, within stimulus prompts, or extra stimulus prompts? Although the answer partly depends on the circumstances, I'd argue that practitioners should often utilise a sequence of at least 3 prompts. They probably should first ensure the antecedent is as conspicuous as possible relative to other objects in the surroundings. Next, they should utilise either a verbal prompt or a gesture. And finally, they should model the behaviour or utilise a physical prompt. Now, this strategy is consistent with an approach called least to most prompting. So why is this strategy called least to most prompting? Well, of the response prompts, verbal prompts and gestures are perceived as the least intrusive. That is, these prompts don't greatly control the behaviour of children. For example, verbal prompts and gestures can really easily be ignored. whereas modelling and physical prompts are perceived as a bit more intrusive. That is, these prompts, especially the physical prompts, significantly control or guide the behaviour of children. Physical prompts are hard to ignore. So when practitioners apply least to most prompting, they tend to begin with a less intrusive prompt, like verbal prompts. And then if the child still doesn't initiate the desired behaviour, the practitioner also includes a more intrusive prompt, such as a physical prompt. Later, I'll tell you why this order is so effective. But first, we need to discuss how to withdraw these prompts. That is, in the future, the child needs to learn how to initiate the act, such as say thank you or shake hands, but without prompts. Prompts are not always going to be available. So how do we withdraw these prompts? Well, 3 strategies can be used to withdraw these prompts. First, you can gradually delay the prompts. So for example, when the child receives a present, you might delay the verbal prompt, say thank you, by 1 second. And then the next time, you might delay the verbal prompt by 2 seconds, and so forth. And as you increase the delay over time, the likelihood the child says thank you without a prompt will gradually increase. Second, to withdraw these prompts, you can diminish the intensity or magnitude of the prompt. The first time you might express the words say thank you or shake hands. The next time you might express the words say thank or shake. And eventually you might just express the sound say or shh before withdrawing the prompts altogether. Third, if you utilise multiple prompts, you could gradually withdraw one prompt at a time. For instance, suppose you initially utilise a verbal prompt and a physical prompt. To illustrate, you might have said shake hands and then guided the hand of this child to the hand of someone else. Then after several trials, you might merely say shake hands, but without guiding the hand of this child to the hand of someone else. Now, as mentioned before, I believe you should often utilise a verbal prompt or gesture before modelling the behaviour or applying a physical prompt. So what's the rationale for this approach? Well, several benefits arise when unintrusive prompts precede intrusive prompts, called least to most prompting. In this circumstance, because of classical conditioning, the child will gradually learn to anticipate the intrusive prompt after they're exposed to the unintrusive prompt. After they hear the words shake hands, a verbal and unintrusive prompt, the child might anticipate the practitioner will then guide their hand, a physical and intrusive prompt. And because children respond more to intrusive prompts, they'll also tend to respond to the anticipation of intrusive prompts as well. So consequently, the verbal prompts alone should eventually encourage the child to shake hands. The implication is that practitioners should precede intrusive prompts, like physical guidance, with unintrusive prompts, like verbal prompts. Then, after several trials, the child will continue to initiate the behaviour, such as shake hands, even after the intrusive prompt is withdrawn. Thus, practitioners should first withdraw the intrusive prompts and only later withdraw the unintrusive prompts. Now, admittedly, the research on this topic is not especially definitive. Some studies recommend this approach, called least to most prompting, but other studies recommend most to least prompting, in which intrusive prompts precede the unintrusive prompts. More specifically, this most to least prompting is sometimes more effective in children with moderate or severe intellectual disabilities.